What's up, guys? My name is Brian Pavlik. I'm with New Leaf Paddle and Surf on the beautiful Gulf Coast of Florida, Sugar White Sands, Pensacola Beach. And I am also the designer and shaper of both stand-up paddleboards and longboards. Okay? Now, I'm coming to you for one big reason is the on-the-fly depth adjustment on a surfboard planer. It's one of the hardest things to find on the internet any information about, okay? Now, first off, this is going to be a series of videos to do this on-the-fly depth adjustment. All the other mods, you can find oodles of information everywhere, okay? But this is going to be just for the on-the-fly depth adjustment. And it also doesn't just work for the Hitachi planers. It'll work for the old Hitachi planers, the new Hitachi planers. It'll work for the Makitas that you guys like, and also the Bosches that are recently been upgraded for surfboard planers also. Okay, it'll work with basically everything. Now, first off, this is not for the faint of heart. If you have no type of mechanical aptitude, please don't try this. Please don't take a brand new planer apart and try to do this, because there is some technical stuff to it, okay? But anyway, I have found everything to do the on-the-fly adjustment at my local Lowe's. Now, I should say 95% of it, okay? There's one little piece that I could not get at Lowe's, and I'll show you that here in a second, okay? But anyway, let's get started. Alright guys, we're first going to go over the materials that you are going to need to do this. Now, what I should say is this is going to be part one of the series. Now, what we're going to do today is simply the handle. And I've come up with a way to make the handle almost look exactly like the Clark foam handles. Alright? This is the products that you're going to need, and the stuff you're going to need, and it will turn out like this. Now, if you guys have noticed the Clark foam ones, it almost looks exactly like that with the lock washer, or the what is that called? A shaft collar lock or something like that. Almost exactly like that. Alright? First off, let's go over the materials we're going to need. This is a 1-inch PVC pipe. Okay? Then you're going to need, this is a, what is this? A 3/4 inch coupler. Okay? This is a 3/4 inch by 1/2 inch bushing. And then remember I said that the 95% of the stuff I could get at Lowe's? Well, this is the one thing that I could not get at Lowe's. This is that lock collar I just mentioned. And this I got at Motion Industries, and they're not that expensive. I think I bought 5 of them, and they were like $1.20 a piece. I take that back, 4 of them, they were $1.25 a piece. Okay? And then the main piece that you guys are going to need, again, this is just going to be for the handle today, but if you guys want to try and jump into it right away, here it is. This is the piece that you guys are all looking for. If you look at this, this is basically a hot and cold water stem from a faucet. Now, it took me a little bit of digging to find one that worked well for me, because they do have different thread counts and stuff like that. And if you can look at this one's got some play. And that is what you want, because once this gets seated in the shoe, if you have this off just a little bit, like when you epoxy it, you're going to be in good shape. Okay? That's what you want. If you don't get it 100% in a 90-degree angle, that's going to be beneficial to you. But if you take a look, I don't know if you can see that play, but look at the travel in that. Okay? That is what you're looking for, and hopefully this is in focus because I'm not over there checking it out. But that is what you're going to need, and also this. It comes with a bunch of stuff like drilled onto it and stuff like that. You could just take off with a, like right there's all the parts in there. You're not going to need any of that. Basically, take everything off. There's going to be a little O-ring on this. Take that off. Take off the stuff that's on the bottom and all that. All you're going to need are the 2 large metal pieces. Okay? And like I said, if you want to jump into that, I don't know if this is going to be in focus for you or if you can see that, but the part number is 9C-23H/C, which stands for hot and cold. Okay? 9C-23H/C. And this is a Danco, just a hot and cold water stem. Alright? That's what we're going to do. But for all other purposes, we're not going to use that today. And the one other thing I forgot to mention that you're going to need for the handle is, I believe this is 1/2-inch pipe. Now unfortunately this is only, not unfortunately, but I should say, this is only $1.54 for this entire pipe, but you're going to only need this much of that pipe. You're actually cutting off about 1.5 inches, so that's all you're going to need for that, and that'll go in the setup. As you can take a look at it, it's just basically going to be like a Lego type system. Alright, now there's different ways to glue this up if you want. You can either use the PVC cement, which I did, but if you don't want to buy the 2-part PVC cement, you can also do it with super glue, okay? And then lastly, to make it black and dipped, I use this right here, the Plasti Dip. Now this is somewhat hard to use, okay? So you might want to take just the plastic dip spray paint, okay? That'll work also. But this was like $6 or $7 and this was $6, okay? Those are the pieces you need. And after you take a quick look, it's basically like Legos. This is going to go here, this is going to go here, this will get all the way seated up all the way in, and then this will go right underneath that. Nothing to it, right? Alright, and then when you're done, it is basically going to look like this. But I will show you the tricks to putting this together. It might look like it's just, you know, straightforward, but there's little tricks that I did to make it line up just perfectly, okay? So let me show you that. Okay guys, first off, I'm going to try and do this as fast as possible. There's going to be some grinding that you're going to need. Inside every one of these there's like a little bit of a lip, okay? They all got to be a straight through flush. So all you're going to do is you're going to take a Dremel with a drum bit on it, and you're going to get all of that out of there, okay? And then also, if you take a quick look at this, there's a little flange on there. You're going to want to grind that off also. Otherwise, it sits kind of funky in there and it's not level. You know, I mean, if you can see that there's a gap in there. You don't want that on there. So grind that off. Alright, the next, on this bushing, this one also has a lip on the inside. You're going to want to grind that out. And then also, it has a lip on this side. You're going to want to grind that flush also. So it fits basically in here both ways, okay? And then there's no grinding to this. Alright, so I'm going to grind them all real quick and I'm going to put them together for you. Alright guys, got it all done, ground up and stuff, and now this is what it looks like, okay? Basically, I ground everything off that I told you I was going to grind off, and it's going to fit, but there's a sequence to putting this together the correct way, okay? What I do is, actually as you can see, I ground off this flange, but I also took a little bit off with, let me see if I can grab it real quick. That type of bit, I don't know what it's called, on my Dremel. I just took a little bit out, and what that is for is the lock collar to fit in there. Now what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take that drum disc. It's not quite the same size. You're going to have to grind that out a little bit until this fits in there, okay? Now, it is important that you put it together this way first. Otherwise, you're not going to seat it right, okay? Take that little cut off of the 1/2-inch pipe, put it in the bushing, get it down. Well, it's a little bit too far. And sometimes they're a real pain in the ass to get back in there, but what I do is, see that little hole right there? Make sure on your lock collar you pull that, you get your set screw out a little bit. And then, my hands are in the way. I mean, it's a pain in the ass to get it. There we go. Now it seats right on there perfectly. Okay, now what that does is it acts as a shelf. Obviously you're going to have to glue this all at one time, so you're going to have to act fast. You can use your super glue to put a couple of dabs of glue on there, but that sits in there perfectly, and you want that to seat flush. Okay, next I put this in here, and you put it to the depth that you want. Before that though, what I'll do is, okay, this is going to be a pain in the ass to get it out, but on the opposite side of this coupling right here, what I do is I bevel this. It's better off to show you like this. Imagine that's not there. Take that drum and bevel that so there's like a 45-degree angle, and then have that on this side. And what that'll do is when you dip it, the black dip will seep into that and it adheres a lot better to that, okay? So this is in here, seated flush. That will get super glued in there. You can put it both on the wall and on the seat. All right, and then I know I called this PVC pipe, but this is actually a 1-inch cap. Sorry about that. And that's all that is. That's how that's done. Okay, but now that we cut off this little flange, remember I told you we're gonna have to grind off that flange? There's play in it. So what I do, just a little bit of a trick, is I take 1/4-inch pin lining tape right about here. I'll go around it once or twice, and it'll seat flush. All right, and then you just got to make sure you get enough glue to adhere that to that. Okay, I mean nothing to it really. And I mean if you look at it, it looks just like the Clark model handle. So make sure before you even glue it up, it's probably a good idea to scuff it up with like a 40 or 36 grit everywhere. So again, that stuff adheres to it. The plastic dip adheres to it real well. And then you just hang and dip it, and it will come out looking something like this. This is the first one I did where I didn't seat it as far, but basically that's all it looks like. Now you're going to have a little bit of white because you don't want the plastic dip to go all the way up here. You only want the plastic dip to go to this point right here. So I just take a black marker and make that black to look uniform in there. Now you might notice that I've made, this will be my 4th one. I'm actually doing this on all my planers, and I might offer, I don't know yet, I'm pretty busy right now, 'tis the season to shaping. I might offer a planer mod type thing, mail-in type thing, but I don't know yet. All right, so, but that's all there is, man. You just glue that up, and that is part 1 of the handle. Next part will be adding this to it. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for part 2.